A teenage girl vanishes on a quick trip to the store, her bloody body found in a haunted field with a chilling carved cross. 30 years later, a shocking DNA twist unmasks a killer who slipped through the cracks. This tale, woven from real-life cases but purely fictional, blends suspense and lessons for education and entertainment. Will the shadows reveal all? Stick till the end for jaw-dropping twists. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and share this video to keep the mystery alive. Trust us, you won't stop watching. The detective pushed through the tall grass, heart pounding like a damn drum in his chest. Sweat dripped down his face under the brutal Illinois sun, the kind that baked everything in sight during that scorching summer. He spotted something unnatural, a pale arm sticking out from the weeds, twisted at a gut-wrenching angle. As he got closer, the horror hit him full force. A teenage girl, stabbed viciously multiple times, her clothes torn and bloodied. A eerie cross was carved into her skin, shallow but deliberate, like some sick ritual. Sirens wailed in the distance, cutting through the eerie silence of the field. What the hell had happened here? Just hours earlier, Sarah Blackwell bounced into her family's cozy home in Glenview, a sleepy suburb where folks left their doors unlocked and kids roamed free. She was 15, a real tomboy with a killer swing in softball and enough charisma to snag vice president of her class. "Mom, I'm starving like hell," she called out, dumping her backpack by the door. "Gonna hit the store for some Coke and Hershey's. Be back in a flash, promise." Her mom, Linda, a hard-working widow juggling shifts at the local diner, chuckled from the kitchen. "All right, kiddo, but don't talk to any weirdos out there. And grab me a bar too dark chocolate, none of that milky crap." Sarah grinned, her pearl ring catching the light as she fiddled with it, a birthday gift from her grandma. She turned to her little sister Anna, who was sprawled on the couch with a comic book. "Hey, Squirt, you ever dream about that black shadow lurking in the field, like it's waiting to grab you?" Anna's eyes widened, but Sarah laughed it off. "Just kidding, dummy. It's probably some old ghost story from the neighborhood brats." The field was a shortcut everyone knew, a vast patch of overgrown grass stretching between the houses and the strip mall. Locals whispered about it being haunted, tales of folks vanishing back in the day, but Sarah shrugged it off. She was tough, unafraid of the 200-yard trek under the clear blue sky. She headed out around 3:30 that afternoon, the July heat shimmering off the pavement. The store was run by Victor Lang, a grizzled guy who'd babysat her when she was a toddler. He knew her order by heart. "Hey there, Sarah. Usual suspects?" he'd say with a wink. She grabbed the sodas and chocolates, paid with crumpled bills from her pocket, and waved goodbye, feeling on top of the world. But as the clock ticked past 4, Linda started glancing at the door. "Where's that girl? Store's only a stone's throw away." She figured Sarah bumped into friends Julia, or some other kid from school, and lost track of time. No cell phones back then, just landlines and hope. By evening, worry gnawed at her gut. She dialed Julia's house. "You seen Sarah?" She went to the store and poof, vanished. Julia sounded hesitant. "Nah, Mrs. B, but she mentioned some creepy dude hanging around lately." Freaked her out a bit. Panic set in as night fell. Linda paced the porch, scanning the darkening streets. Her older boys, Mark and David, joined the search, hollering Sarah's name into the wind. "This ain't right," Mark muttered, his voice rough from a long day. By 1:50 in the morning, with no sign, Linda broke. She grabbed the phone, hand shaking. "Police? My daughter's missing. Please, you gotta help." As the first cop cars pulled up, lights flashing like angry fireflies, Linda clutched Anna tight. The field loomed in the distance, its tall grass swaying mockingly. Deep down, a chilling scream echoed in her mind, or was it real? Something twisted waited out there, ready to unravel everything. The cops rolled up to the Blackwell house in the dead of night, their cruisers casting harsh blue and red glows across the quiet street. Detective Harlan Reed, a grizzled veteran with a gut from too many donuts and stakeouts, knocked hard on the door. Linda swung it open, eyes red and puffy, clutching a tissue like a lifeline. "Ma'am, when's the last time you saw her?" "Any enemies, boyfriends, weird stuff going on?" Reed asked, his voice gravelly but steady. Linda shook her head, voice cracking. She left around 3:30 for the store. That's it. No enemies, this town's safe as hell. Who the fuck would hurt my baby? Mark, the older brother with a shady past of dipping into booze and pills, paced the living room like a caged animal. This ain't right, he growled, fists clenched. Sarah's tough, but that damn field. Kids say it's cursed. Reed nodded, jotting notes. They pieced together her route. The shortcut through the overgrown lot, tall grass swaying like whispering ghosts under the moon. By dawn, a fresh team took over, combing the streets while neighbors gawked from porches. Reed decided to retrace the path himself, boots sinking into the soft earth. The field stretched wide, a vacant eyesore between homes and the strip mall, dotted with weeds reaching 5 feet high. He followed the worn trail kids used to shave time, heart thumping with that cop instinct something was off. Then he spotted an unnatural dip in the grass, 10 yards off the path. Pushing through, the sight hit him like a punch. Sarah's body, sprawled and lifeless, 8 savage stab wounds piercing her torso. Her clothes were ripped, evidence of a brutal assault screaming from the scene. No footprints, no dropped items, just chilling emptiness. And that pearl ring? Gone, vanished like smoke. Forensics swarmed in, yellow tape flapping in the breeze. The medical examiner, a no-nonsense doc named Ellis, knelt beside her. Cause of death. Those stabs, deep and furious. We've got biological material from the perp semen, skin under her nails. But DNA tech's still in its baby steps back in '85. We'll store it, hope for the future. Reed rubbed his jaw, staring at an eerie detail. A bloody cross carved shallow on her arm, like some twisted symbol. This ain't random, he muttered. Feels ritualistic, creepy as hell. They grilled witnesses fast. Victor Lang, the store owner who'd watched Sarah grow up, leaned on his counter, face pale. She came in around 4, grabbed the usual soda, chocolate, smiled big, nothing off. But after she left, I found this scrap of paper on the floor. She'll vanish like smoke. Freaked me out. Reed's eyes narrowed. Planted? Coincidence? Julia, Sarah's best buddy, fidgeted during her chat. Nah, I didn't see her today, but she mentioned some creepy dude staring at the store last week. Kinda lurked around, made her skin crawl. But Julia held back. Biting her lip, truth was, she and Sarah had swiped candy once, and she feared spilling that would drag her in. Folks nearby swore blind. A family barbecuing 50 yards away heard zilch, no screams, no scuffle. The gas station clerk, Carl Donovan, shrugged. Worked my shift, saw nothing. But there were these eerie whispers in the wind, like voices arguing. Reed pressed, but Carl clammed up, eyes darting. As the team scoured the field under floodlights, shadows danced wildly. Reed froze, a flicker in the corner of his eye, like someone watching from the tree line. Was it the killer, circling back, or just his imagination playing tricks in this god-forsaken place? The hunt was on, but the darkness hid more than bodies. It buried secrets ready to explode. The leads dried up fast, but suspicion zeroed in on Victor Lang like a hawk on prey. The guy had a thing for old jewelry, collected rings and trinkets in his cluttered back room, creepy enough to raise eyebrows. When DNA testing started gaining traction 3 years later, Reed pushed for samples from every suspect. Victor flat out refused, hollering in the station, "You bastards think I'm a monster? I watched that kid grow up." Court drama exploded. A judge ordered him to comply, but Victor dug in his heels, landing in a dingy jail cell for contempt. Naked and humiliated, he broke after days, coughing up the sample under pressure. Twist hit hard. His DNA didn't match a damn thing. Cleared, but ruined. Victor spilled his guts to reporters later. Spent 50 grand on lawyers, mortgaged my house, lost it all. Friends turned their backs, family too. That ordeal wrecked me, and for what? In a quiet moment with Reed, he confessed a dark past, abused as a boy, which explained his fierce resistance to probing. "Trust no one," he whispered, eyes haunted. But shadows deepened with Harlan Voss, a local oddball bombarding the Blackwells with anonymous tips. Letters piled up. "The killer's closer than you think. Check the shadows in the field." Harlan called Linda one stormy night, voice low and urgent. "Mrs. Blackwell, I know the truth, but it'll shatter you. He's been watching for years." Linda slammed the phone down, Terrified, the family couldn't take it anymore. They slapped him with a restraining order after 4 years of harassment. Cops dug into Harlan. Turns out he was the brother of a woman, assaulted back in the 70s, hunting revenge on a ghost. My sister's attacker walked free. He admitted under questioning. Yours will too if you don't listen. Cleared of the murder, but his obsession added eerie layers, like the case was cursed. Tension ratcheted up as Julia cracked under pressure. In a tearful chat with Reed, she confessed partial truth. Okay, fine, I saw Sarah chatting with some stranger on a motorcycle near the store. Tall guy, leather jacket, eyes like daggers. But we swiped some candy once, and I didn't want to get dragged in. Carl the gas clerk vanished for days, freaking everyone out. When he resurfaced, pale as a ghost, he muttered, "Saw a rider in the shadows that day like a damn ghost on wheels. Scared the hell out of me." Police scoured pawn shops across Illinois for that missing pearl ring, but no dice. Theory brewed. The killer stalked Sarah, knew her habits, or hell, maybe even knew her personally in that tight-knit town. One midnight, Linda's phone rang, jolting her awake. A raspy voice hissed. Sarah screamed, but no one heard. Yet, she dropped the receiver, heart exploding. Twist stung when Mark admitted under the spotlight. "Yeah, I fought with Sarah over money. I owed some shady folks, and she threatened to tell Mom." Internal doubt festered. Was it family betrayal? As moonlight bathed the field, a glint caught Reed's eye during a late patrol, a bloody ring shimmering in the grass. Wait, was it real? Or just a cruel trick of the light? The case went ice cold after those fruitless years, but whispers of DNA miracles loomed on the horizon, promising to crack the unbreakable. The case froze solid after those fruitless years. A chilling silence, settling over Glenview like a winter fog. By 1988, DNA testing exploded onto the scene, a game-changer in cold cases everywhere. Reed rounded up samples from every lingering suspect, but match after match came back negative, nothing stuck. The killer's profile sat in storage, a ghost in the machine, while the field turned into a no-go zone. Kids avoided it like the plague, swapping tales of haunted whispers and black shadows lurking in the grass. Linda dreamt of Sarah nightly, her daughter's voice echoing faint and desperate. "He's still out there, Mom, riding free on those endless roads." Harlan Voss kept the pressure on, his far-fetched tips flooding the Blackwells like junk mail from hell. One scribbled note claimed the killer was a drifter with a tattooed cross. Another pointed to buried evidence under the barbecue spot. Reed hauled him in for questioning, the interrogation room thick with tension. "Why the obsession, Voss?" Reed barked, slamming a file down. Harlan leaned forward, eyes wild. "My sister's killer walked free back in the 70s, assaulted her bad, left her broken. Yours will too unless you dig deeper, detective. These monsters don't stop." Cops cleared him quick, but his confession peeled back layers. Harlan was chasing shadows from his own nightmare, blurring lines between vigilante and victim. By 1989, the file gathered dust, uploaded to the FBI database in 2000 with slim hopes. No hits pinged, just endless dead ends. Tips trickled in, a sighting here, a suspicious neighbor there, but nothing concrete. Linda aged fast, her hair graying, eyes hollow from sleepless nights. "It's like she's screaming from that field, begging for justice," she confided to Reed during a check-in. The emotional toll crushed the family. Mark spiraled deeper into his demons. Anna grew distant, haunted by what-ifs. Decades dragged on, original detectives retiring or burning out. Then, in 2015, lightning struck. Raymond Keller, a 62-year-old loner from Champaign 150 miles south, got nabbed for domestic violence. His wife called the cops after a brutal fight, and per Illinois law from 2002, suspects swabbed for DNA. That legislation? Pushed hard by the local state's attorney, inspired by unsolved horrors like Sarah's. Keller's sample lit up the database like fireworks, a perfect match to the scene's biological evidence. Reed's successor, a sharp young detective named Torres, dove in. Keller's rap sheet chilled the bone. Assaults on women in the mid-70s, one left battered in a hospital lot. He turned himself in back then, fake remorse dripping, as he claimed mental issues. "I respect the law. That's why I surrendered," he bullshitted in court. Sentenced 10 to 20 years, the creep walked after just 6 for good behavior, hitting the streets in 1983, 2 years before Sarah's murder. His first victim? Never notified of the early release. She later fumed, "I'd have fought tooth and nail to keep that monster locked." Keller's ex painted a volatile picture in her statement. "That asshole flips like a switch, 1 minute calm, next exploding in rage. Obsessed with crime shows, detective novels, like he studied how to vanish. Hints dropped of solo motorcycle trips, cruising back roads through suburbs like Glenview to visit kin in Chicago." As the DNA pinged undeniable, Torres unearthed a forgotten photo from the case file, a blurry shadow of a bike near the field that fateful day. Was this the break? The family braced, hearts pounding, as old wounds ripped open wide. The DNA match slammed into the case like a freight train derailing in slow motion. Torres burst into the station, file clutched tight, yelling to the team, "We got him. Raymond Keller, 62, holed up in Champaign, 150 miles from here." Bastard's DNA lights up like a Christmas tree against the scene sample. The twist gutted everyone. Keller's name never popped in the original files, not a suspect, witness, or even a whisper. He was a ghostwriter, drifting through on his motorcycle, invisible to small-town cops chasing locals. Torres dialed Linda first, voice steady but laced with triumph. "Mrs. Blackwell, we've nailed the son of a bitch Raymond Keller. He's our guy, no doubt." Silence stretched on the line. Then Linda gasped, raw and broken. "Who the hell is he? Never heard that name in my life." Over 3 decades, cops had grilled her on hundreds of leads. This felt like another cruel joke, until Torres laid it out. The domestic bust, the swab under that 2002 law, the undeniable hit. Keller denied everything when hauled in, smirking in the interrogation room. "You got the wrong man, pigs. I ain't never been to Glenview." But his ex-girlfriend cracked the facade wide open during her interview, spilling dirt that chilled Torres to the bone. Raise a powder keg calm 1 second, then boom, raging like a demon. Kept souvenirs from his adventures, creepy stuff like rings and locks of hair. Obsessed with covering tracks, watched every crime show on television. That pearl ring? Likely tucked in his twisted collection, a trophy from Sarah's final moments. Twists piled on like wreckage. Mark, now sober but scarred, stared at Keller's mugshot and froze. "Holy shit, I know him." Bumped into the creep at a dive bar 2 weeks before. Before it happened. He bought me a beer, asked about local spots. Thought he was just some drifter. The connection snapped into place. Keller cruising those back roads, eyes hunting prey. By 2018, the trial loomed in a packed courtroom, air thick with tension. Prosecutors pushed for life, painting Keller as a serial predator with a rap sheet stretching back. He pleaded guilty to dodge the death penalty details, copping to 80 years behind bars, parole no sooner than 2095. In other words, the monster would rot till he dropped. As the judge banged the gavel, Keller leaned to his lawyer, whispering eerie and low. "She knew too much. That's why." But the plea deal sealed his lips, no confession required, leaving ghosts unanswered. Julia dropped the final bomb months later, rummaging through an old box of Sarah's stuff. "Mrs. B, look, the pearl ring. It was here all along, like she hid it or something. Premonition? Coincidence?" It rattled Linda, stirring old dreams of black shadows. Harlan Voss showed at the sentencing, nodding silent closure, his own demons quieter now. Victor Lang lurked in the back row, face etched with bitterness, still waiting for that apology that never came. As cuffs clicked shut on Keller, a final shadow lifted from the field, but was it the last? Whispers lingered, hinting at other victims on those lonely rides, justice served yet incomplete. The cuffs snapped shut on Keller with a final click, echoing through the courtroom like a long overdue thunderclap. The Blackwells huddled together, tears streaming as relief washed over them in waves. Linda stepped to the mic during sentencing, voice steady but laced with fire. "Thank you to the detectives who never quit. This monster's finally caged. But if that prick had served his full sentence back in the 80s, my baby would still be here, laughing and playing softball." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Keller's early release after just 6 years for his prior assaults loomed like a damning ghost. The judge nodded grimly, slamming down 80 years. Parole kicking in no earlier than 2095, essentially a life sentence for the 65-year-old creep. Victor Lang slouched in the back, arms crossed, face a mask of bitterness. He caught Reed's eye post-verdict, muttering low, "Ruined my damn life, and for what? No apology, no nothing, just whispers and stares for decades." Harlan Voss lingered nearby, offering a quiet nod to Linda. "Justice for your girl brings a sliver of peace to mine," he said. His vendetta softened, but not erased. Julia hugged Anna tight, the found ring now a cherished memento, whispering, "Sarah's watching. I swear she knew we'd get here." Experts weighed in heavy on the case, highlighting how far forensics had leaped. A top DNA analyst from the FBI lab, in a post-trial interview, put it blunt, "DNA's a total game changer, but back in the early 80s, tech left cases frozen like hell in a deep freeze. We stored samples hoping for miracles, and laws like Illinois' 2002 mandate swabbing suspects on arrest delivered just that." The push for that legislation sparked right in DuPage County, fueled by unsolved nightmares like Sarah's, turning grief into policy that cracked cold files wide open. Real lessons screamed from this nightmare. Small towns ain't as safe as they seem, report. Every creep lurking in the shadows. Trust that gut feeling when something feels off. Families shattered by violence pushed for change, proving persistence pays off. But early releases for violent scum? They breed more monsters on the streets. The falsely accused, like Victor, paid a brutal price, lives torpedoed by suspicion, no takebacks. And DNA databases? They're lifelines. But privacy debates rage on, balancing justice with rights. This twisted tale warns loud and clear. Shadows lurk anywhere, even in broad daylight shortcuts. Trust your instincts. Push hard for justice, because one day, buried truth explodes out like a bomb. But in that overgrown field, where grass still sways under Illinois winds, whispers echo faint, or do they? Maybe it's just the wind, or perhaps a reminder that some ghosts never fully fade.